The sky was a canvas of deepening indigo, streaked with the faintest hints of amber as the sun prepared to reclaim its dominion over the earth. Layla stood atop the ziggurat, her bare feet pressing into the cool stone, her breath forming faint clouds in the pre-dawn chill. She had climbed these steps every morning for as long as she could remember, drawn by an inexplicable force, a pull that seemed to emanate from the heavens themselves. The air was thick with the scent of dew-kissed earth and the distant murmur of the Euphrates, its waters whispering secrets to the land. But Layla's attention was fixed on the eastern horizon, where the morning star would soon appear, a beacon of light in the fading darkness, a herald of the sun's return. Her fingers tightened around the clay tablet she carried, its surface already etched with countless markings, each one a testament to her relentless pursuit of knowledge. Layla was not like the other women of her village. While they wove baskets and tended to the fields, she spent her nights deciphering the patterns of the stars, her mind alight with questions that no one else dared to ask. Why did the morning star appear only at certain times? Why did it vanish for months, only to reappear as the evening star, glowing faintly in the twilight? The elders spoke of it as a god, a celestial being that guided the fates of men, but Layla believed there was more to it, a truth hidden in the heavens, waiting to be uncovered. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon, the morning star emerged, its brilliance cutting through the dawn like a blade. Layla's heart quickened, her eyes narrowing as she studied its position. It was higher today, she noted, its trajectory shifting ever so slightly. She reached for her stylus and began to carve a new symbol into the tablet, her movements precise and deliberate. Each mark was a piece of the puzzle, a step closer to understanding the star's mysteries. But as she worked, a shadow fell across the stone, and she looked up to see Khalid standing before her, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Khalid was the village's chief astronomer, a man of considerable influence and even greater ambition. His knowledge of the stars was unmatched, or so he claimed, and he had long resented Layla's growing reputation. She was a woman after all, and in his eyes, her place was in the home, not among the stars. Yet here she was, defying tradition, her discoveries threatening to overshadow his own. His presence was a storm cloud on the horizon, and Layla could feel the tension crackling in the air between them. "You waste your time, Layla," Khalid said, his voice low and measured. "The stars are not meant to be understood by the likes of you. They are the domain of gods and kings, not peasants who dare to dream above their station." Layla met his gaze, her chin lifted in defiance. "The stars belong to no one," she replied, her voice steady despite the anger simmering within her. "They are a gift to all who seek to understand them, and I will not stop until I do." Khalid's lips curled into a sneer. "You speak boldly for one so young, but mark my words, your arrogance will be your downfall. The heavens are not kind to those who overreach." With that, he turned and descended the steps, his robes billowing behind him like the wings of a dark bird. Layla watched him go, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew his words were a warning, a threat even, but she also knew that she could not, would not, back down. The stars had chosen her, and she would not betray their trust. As the days turned into weeks, Layla's observations grew more meticulous, her understanding of the morning star's movements more refined. She began to notice patterns, subtle shifts in its trajectory that hinted at a larger, more complex dance. It was as if the star was alive, its movements guided by an unseen hand. But the more she learned, the more questions arose. Why did it disappear for months at a time? Why did it reappear as the evening star, its light softer, more subdued? The answers eluded her, slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. One night, as she lay on the roof of her home, staring up at the endless expanse of stars, a thought occurred to her. What if the morning star and the evening star were not two separate entities, but one and the same? The idea was both thrilling and terrifying, a revelation that could change everything. But to prove it, she would need more than just her observations. She would need evidence, something tangible that could not be disputed. The opportunity came sooner than she expected. A caravan arrived in the village, its members bearing strange instruments and scrolls filled with cryptic symbols. They were scholars from a distant land, their knowledge of the stars rivaling even Khalid's. Layla approached them cautiously, her heart racing with anticipation. She knew this was her chance to learn, to expand her understanding beyond the confines of her village. But she also knew that Khalid would not take kindly to her seeking knowledge from outsiders. The leader of the caravan, a man named Darius, was intrigued by Layla's passion. He listened intently as she explained her theory, his eyes narrowing in thought. "You are onto something," he said finally, his voice tinged with admiration. "But to prove it, you will need to observe the stars' movements over a longer period. And you will need to do so in secret, for there are those who would see your work destroyed." Layla nodded, her resolve hardening. She would do whatever it took to uncover the truth, even if it meant risking everything she held dear. With Darius's help, she began to plan her next steps, her mind racing with possibilities. But as she worked, she could not shake the feeling that she was being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking her every move. One evening, as she returned from a meeting with Darius, she found her home in disarray. Her tablets had been smashed, her notes scattered across the floor, and in the center of the room, standing amidst the wreckage, was Khalid. His face was a mask of fury, his eyes blazing with a fire that sent a chill down her spine. "You think you can defy me?" he snarled, his voice trembling with rage. "You think you can steal my glory, my knowledge? I will not allow it, Layla. I will not allow you to destroy everything I have built." Layla's heart pounded in her chest, but she stood her ground. "I am not your enemy, Khalid," she said, her voice calm despite the fear coursing through her veins. "I seek only the truth, and the truth belongs to no one." Khalid's laughter was bitter, devoid of humor. "The truth? You speak of the truth as if it is something pure, something noble. But the truth is a weapon, Layla, and in the wrong hands it can destroy us all." With that he turned and left, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Layla sank to her knees, her hands trembling as she gathered the fragments of her work. She knew now that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, that every step she took would be met with resistance. But she also knew that she could not turn back. The stars had chosen her, and she would not betray their trust. As the days turned into weeks, Layla's determination only grew stronger. She worked in secret, her observations more meticulous than ever. And then, one fateful morning, as the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon, she saw it. The morning star, its light brighter than ever before. But this time, she noticed something she had never seen before. A faint trail, a shimmering path that seemed to lead from the star to the earth. It was as if the star was reaching out to her, offering her a glimpse of its secrets. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the magnitude of her discovery. The morning star and the evening star were indeed one and the same, their movements part of a larger, more intricate dance, and she, Layla, had uncovered the truth. But as she stood there, bathed in the star's light, she knew that her journey was far from over. The heavens held countless mysteries, and she was determined to uncover them all. But even as she celebrated her victory, a shadow loomed on the horizon. Khalid's words echoed in her mind, a grim reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. The truth was a weapon, and in the wrong hands it could destroy everything she held dear. But Layla was not afraid. She had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. And as the morning star faded into the light of day, she knew that she was ready for whatever came next. The stars had chosen her, and she would not betray their trust. The city of Athens was a labyrinth of marble and moonlight, its streets alive with the hum of philosophers, merchants, and dreamers. The air was thick with the scent of olive oil and the distant murmur of the Aegean, its waves crashing against the shore like the heartbeat of the earth. But high above the city, on a hill crowned with the skeletal frame of an unfinished observatory, Eleni stood alone, her gaze fixed on the heavens. The evening star had just appeared, its soft glow a stark contrast to the deepening twilight. To most, it was a mere celestial body, a point of light in the vast expanse of the night. But to Eleni, it was a riddle, a mystery that had consumed her for as long as she could remember. She was not like the other women of Athens. While they adorned themselves with jewels and gossiped in the agora, Eleni spent her nights poring over scrolls and star charts, her mind alight with questions that no one else dared to ask. Why did the evening star appear only after the sun had set? Why did it vanish for months, only to reappear as the morning star, its light brighter, more urgent? The philosophers spoke of it as a symbol of duality, a celestial embodiment of love and war. But Eleni believed there was more to it, a truth hidden in the heavens, waiting to be uncovered. Her fingers traced the edge of a scroll, its surface covered in intricate diagrams and notes. It was the work of her mentor, a brilliant astronomer who had died before he could complete his life's work. He had believed that the evening star held the key to understanding the balance of opposites in the universe, a theory that had captivated Eleni from the moment she first heard it. But now, with his death, the burden of proving his theory had fallen to her. It was a daunting task, one that required not only knowledge, but also resources. Resources that were increasingly hard to come by in a city gripped by political turmoil. As the evening star grew brighter, Eleni's thoughts turned to Marcus, the Roman engineer who had become her unlikely ally. They had met by chance, their paths crossing at a symposium where Marcus had spoken of his work on aqueducts and bridges. His passion for engineering had intrigued her, and she had approached him afterward, her mind racing with possibilities. What if they could combine their knowledge, her understanding of the stars with his skill in construction? Together they could build an observatory, a place where they could study the heavens in ways no one had before. Marcus had been skeptical at first. "The stars are the domain of philosophers," he had said, his voice tinged with amusement. What could an engineer possibly contribute to their study? But Eleni had persisted, her determination unwavering. "The stars are not just symbols," she had replied. "They are part of the natural world, governed by laws that can be understood and measured. And to do that we need more than just philosophy. We need tools, precision, and ingenuity. That is where you come in." Her words had struck a chord, and Marcus had agreed to help. Together, they had begun work on the observatory, its design a blend of Greek elegance and Roman practicality. But as the project progressed, so too did the challenges. The political climate in Athens was growing increasingly volatile, with tensions between the city and Rome reaching a boiling point. Marcus, as a Roman, was viewed with suspicion, and his presence at the observatory only added to the scrutiny. Eleni could feel the weight of their secret pressing down on her, a constant reminder of the risks they were taking. One evening, as they worked late into the night, Marcus turned to her, his expression serious. "We need to be careful, Eleni," he said, his voice low. "There are those who would see this project destroyed, who would see us destroyed. We cannot afford to make mistakes." Eleni nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of his words. She knew he was right, but she also knew that they could not stop. The observatory was too important, its potential too great. And so, they pressed on, their work shrouded in secrecy, their every move calculated to avoid detection. But as the days turned into weeks, Eleni began to notice a change in Marcus. He was more distant, his thoughts often elsewhere. At first she attributed it to the stress of their work, but as the days passed, she began to suspect that there was more to it. One night, as they stood on the unfinished platform of the observatory, she confronted him. "What is it, Marcus?" she asked, her voice soft but insistent. "Something is troubling you, I can see it in your eyes." Marcus hesitated, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I have received word from Rome," he said finally, his voice tinged with regret. "They want me to return. They believe my skills are needed elsewhere." Eleni's heart sank, but she forced herself to remain calm. "And what do you believe?" she asked, her eyes searching his. Marcus turned to her, his expression conflicted. "I believe in this project, Eleni. I believe in what we are trying to achieve, but I also have a duty to Rome, to my people. I cannot ignore that." Eleni felt a surge of frustration, but she knew that arguing would only make things worse. Instead, she reached out and took his hand, her touch gentle but firm. "Then we will find a way," she said, her voice steady. "We will finish the observatory, and we will prove that this is worth fighting for. Together." Marcus nodded, but his eyes remained troubled. Eleni could see the conflict within him, the pull of duty warring with his desire to stay. She knew that the days ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that they could not afford to falter. The evening star was their guide, its light a reminder of the mysteries that awaited them. As the weeks passed, the observatory began to take shape, its towering structure a testament to their determination. But with each stone laid, the tension between them grew. Marcus's loyalty to Rome was a constant source of friction. His every decision weighed against the demands of his homeland. Eleni, on the other hand, was driven by a singular purpose: to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Their partnership, once a source of strength, was now a fragile thing, held together by little more than their shared goal. One night, as they stood on the platform of the observatory, the evening star glowing faintly above them, Marcus turned to her, his expression grim. "I have been ordered to return to Rome," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "They have given me no choice." Eleni felt a surge of anger, but she forced herself to remain calm. "And what of the observatory?" she asked, her voice tight with emotion. "What of our work?" Marcus shook his head, his eyes filled with sorrow. "I do not know, Eleni, but I cannot defy Rome, not even for this." Eleni's heart ached with the weight of his words, but she knew that she could not let him go without a fight. "Then I will finish it," she said, her voice firm. "With or without you, I will see this through." Marcus looked at her, his expression a mixture of admiration and regret. "You are stronger than I am, Eleni," he said softly, "but even you cannot do this alone." With that he turned and left, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Eleni watched him go, her heart heavy with the knowledge that their partnership was over. But even as she mourned the loss, she knew that she could not give up. The evening star was still there, its light a reminder of the mysteries that awaited her, and she would not rest until she had uncovered them all. As the days turned into weeks, Eleni threw herself into her work, her determination unwavering. The observatory was nearly complete, its towering structure a testament to her resilience. But as she worked, she could not shake the feeling that she was being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking her every move. She knew that Marcus's departure had not gone unnoticed, that there were those who would see her work destroyed. But she also knew that she could not stop. The truth was too important, the stakes too high. One night, as she stood on the platform of the observatory, the evening star glowing faintly above her, she noticed something she had never seen before. A faint trail, a shimmering path that seemed to lead from the star to the earth. It was as if the star was reaching out to her, offering her a glimpse of its secrets. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the magnitude of her discovery. The evening star was not just a celestial body, it was a guide, a beacon that had led her to this moment, and she, Eleni, had uncovered the truth. But as she stood there, bathed in the star's light, she knew that her journey was far from over. The heavens held countless mysteries, and she was determined to uncover them all. But even as she celebrated her victory, a shadow loomed on the horizon. Marcus's words echoed in her mind, a grim reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. The truth was a weapon, and in the wrong hands, it could destroy everything she held dear. But Eleni was not afraid. She had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. And as the evening star faded into the light of dawn, she knew that she was ready for whatever came next. The stars had chosen her, and she would not betray their trust.